friends, it's Megan, Georgia Girl Stitching here on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Wednesday, December 14th, and I'm here for FlossMas number 7. Welcome back to those who are returning, and welcome to new friends. I hope you enjoy and stick around for a while. Today is all about non-FFo'd finishes. So basically, I'm going to be going through my under the bed box, which includes finishes that I have of this year. Up until now, I'm not really expecting to have any more finishes this year, so I thought I'd go ahead and do this week. But this also includes finishes that I've had over the last few years that I have not yet been able to get any kind of finished, whether not pinned, not matted, or FFo'd in any form or fashion. So I have this like clear box that I actually don't keep it under the bed. I keep it in my crafting closet. I share my crafting closet with David's hobbies and my clothes because, you know, closets can only fit so much. So it's kind of a in the closet box that has all of my finishes until they have their chance to get FFo'd. So I wanted to go ahead and go through the ones that I have from this year, and then just for fun to go through the ones. I love looking at them again and revisiting some that I finished literally years ago at this point for some of them. So thought I'd do that for this FlossMas. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna do it like reverse chronological. So I'm gonna start with like my most recent finishes that you have most likely seen, and then go all the way back in time to my oldest finish, which is from 2015. So some of these, I do have a list of like fabric and everything. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at, just so I don't get anything wrong, or at least minimally wrong. So I'll go ahead and get started. This first one, which is my most recent finish, which I did a FlossMas on, is called Let's Make Memories from Imaginating. Did it on 32 count Silvery Moon Lugana. And this is it. I did this this is gonna be my dad's Christmas present, which I am going to gift him essentially like this, because he actually makes his own types of frames for his photography. So I'm gonna have him make a frame for it, because he is very particular about his frames. And then I did change, so I changed the 310 for the stitching is Gentle Arts Soot. And I changed the words down here. They originally it says Making Memories. I changed it to Alter Reality based on my dad's bio on his website, which is linked down below. And he is a black and white photographer, so this pattern is perfect for black and white. So that's my first one. Next one I also did was my first FlossMas, and this is Wintry Mix by Sue Hillis. And this is on 32 count raw, and I didn't change anything about it. So here we are. I really did love this piece. It is a labor of love, but just because of the amount of white stitching, but it just comes out so gorgeous. And I'm envisioning a pillow finish for this one. So come up close. And I talk a lot about this one in my FlossMas number 1 if you want more about it, or just to hear solely about it. But yep, that's that one. My next finish is actually ones I don't think I've actually shown on FlossTube. I released a pattern, I guess technically, yeah, I released a pattern, which is kind of a set of 4 patterns on Thanksgiving. Called a Thank You for All Seasons. And it's just these little, I'll put the pattern picture here so you can see it, what the mock-up looks like, because I released it before I actually stitched it. And then I did on Thanksgiving and on Black Friday, I stitched up 2 of them. And so I did the Thank You Autumn. And this is on Color and Cotton Emerald, or Esmeralda fabric. Kind of this really nice green, dark green. And I did that with the called 4 colors that I have on the pattern. And then this one, it took me 2 hours, 3 hours-ish to do this one. And then I loved it so much, I just did this the evening of Thanksgiving. I loved it so much. I then did the winter one. And this is on 32 count platinum. They're just a lot of fun. These are exact on 32 count. They are 2 inches by 3 inches. So I actually have an idea of making at least one into an artist trading card that Laura from Stitching by the Shore is doing. She talks all about these artist trading cards, which are 2 by 3 inches usually. I have never done anything like that, but I'm thinking about giving these a try and try and turn into like a little card to trade with her. But I wanted to test it out and kind of get us one stitched and see. And so yeah, so if you're looking for something you could change these words to really say anything as well. But yeah, I haven't stitched the other 2 seasons yet. I'm gonna stitch those next year in their seasons. I don't really have any thoughts on those totally yet, but I do have the fabric for the summer. I just have a scrap of the Color and Cotton Malibu left over for the summer, which I'm gonna stitch that one on, and I don't know I'm gonna stitch the spring on. But the pattern is available on my Gumroad if you are interested in downloading that. That's gonna be linked down below. You'll also find this one I've talked about on my last few FlossMas's. And thank you, Laura from Stitching by the Shore, for shouting this out as well on her most recent floss tube. This is Paws and Plaid. I designed this, I'm trying to remember, late November, early December this month. This took me exactly 2 hours to fully stitch. This is also on 32 count platinum. It's the same piece of fabric. I just haven't cut it out yet. But I was inspired. This is my dog Tank's like color palette is this green plaid. And so I wanted to make a little ornament for him because he doesn't have one yet for us that we have for him. I've never stitched anything for him. And so I decided to make him a little ornament. And this is also on my Gumroad, and I have it in 9 different color palettes. So, and then of course it's very easily customizable as well. So you can see that on my Gumroad. Tanky, I'm talking about him. Okay, and then my beast of a finish this year, which is going to be one of my most prized possessions once it's fully finished, especially, is patchwork. And this is Patchwork by Jan Houtman, that I did a complete color conversion on and changed the phrase in the middle. And in my last floss tube, I go through all the details about this. This is on the color conversion, or all the colors that I used is also on my Gumroad page. If you are interested in what all these colors are, I'll just do like a little scan up of all of it. But this was my obsession this year. I finished most of it this year. I put 22, even though I started in 21, I put 22 down at the bottom because I just did most of this work in 2022. And the quote, "Sky above, sand below, peace within," which is the beach for me, for sure. So yeah, so this is gonna get finished next year. And I show all about that on my last floss tube. And then of course, once I actually have it FFO'd, you'll see that as well. These next few are all of my own designs, and they are all on my Gumroad. So I'm not gonna go over that each time. I'm sure you're gonna get sick of me hearing that, and I apologize. But I designed quite a bit starting in July, and I really enjoyed it. And so I was stitching the patterns that I designed. So this one is Axford Nautical Flags. My last name is Axford, if you're, not sure. And so this is Axford spelled out in the nautical flags, and then 2021, which is the year that we got married. I did that. I actually have the entire flag alphabet. I have the entire alphabet up as well. I just haven't stitched it yet. I'm gonna stitch that next year. But yeah, This is Color and Cotton Requiem, which is the color fabric of the month this year, 32 count. And it was just so much fun to stitch. The block stitching was really fun. And then this next one is Life Happens. When life happens, beer helps. This was a companion to one that I will show here shortly, which is all about wine. Got the hops in there. This is on Color and Cotton Succulent, 32 count. Oh no, 40 count. Yeah, 40 count succulent. A lot of fun with that one. Try and get the... And these are shown more in my previous floss tubes as well from middle of this year. This is Fair and Following. Fair Winds and Following Seas. This is on 40 count Ocean Air from Fox and Rabbit. And one of these days I'm gonna do, this is the day version. At some point I'm gonna do a night version, so it's on like dark fabric and there's gonna be a moon here. But you also could totally stitch it without anything there too, which is how it was originally designed, and then I added the sun for fun. So I really enjoyed this stitch. So Fair and Following. The white does show up in person. I know like on camera in this lighting you can't really see it, but in person you can see the white. So it was hard to photograph for some reason, that contrast, it just wasn't working. And then this is my very first design that I designed and stitched and released in July. And this is Fine Wine. Like fine wine, I get better with age. This was inspired by a med school friend of mine. And this is on Color and Cotton Old West. This has its own video as well from earlier this year. Love it. And then a shout out to Keepsakes Barbara. I called and asked, I need a red that is like red wine, because I didn't feel like any of my colors that I already had really looked like red wine. And Barbara, a fellow wine lover of mine, sent me old bandana for that color. So thank you, Barbara. This next one, it was kitted for me by Jen from Keepsakes. This is Memorial Day from Hands On Design on Cornflower Lugana 32 count from Fiber on a Whim. And this is stitched with the Sulky pack that is called for. And I did everything called for except two things. The flag, so the pattern is called for on white, like a white fabric. So the stars of the flags aren't stitched because like theoretically the white fabric just shows through. Well, I didn't do it on white. And I could have just like stitched in the white stars, but instead I used beads. I just used like basic white Mill Hill beads for the flag, or for the stars on the flags. And then also down here, there's all these like white, I think they're like Smyrna stitches. I'm not quite sure what they were supposed to be, but I didn't even originally see them on the cover photo when I first got them. Every time I looked at the pattern, I never saw them until I was actually stitching it. And I was like, what are those lines? And then when I really looked closely on the cover photo, I could see those Smyrna stitches. And I just didn't feel like it needed it. If I didn't even know they were there, I didn't feel like they needed it, so I didn't stitch those. But yeah, Memorial Day, Hands On Design. Really enjoyed that piece. This next one is Let's Do Wine by Imaginating. It's on a 32 count Fortnite Fabrics. It was a fabric of the month that I was part of years ago. And here it is. I was inspired to do this one after Pam from Just Keep Stitchin' finished hers. Absolutely fell in love with it and had to do it. I do love this fabric. I wish I could find more of it. I don't even think it had a name maybe it, if it did, I don't know what it was, but I just love it. It's like this aged parchment fabric. Oh, I wish I had rolls of this. It's the perfect like wine fabric. The only thing I changed about this piece is I did not do the border all the way around. I left it just, in the original pattern, there's a border that connects the grapes to the bottle, like it goes all the way around the bottle, and I didn't feel like that was necessary, and it looked like a pain in the butt to stitch, so I just didn't do it. No idea how I'm gonna finish this one, to be honest. Find something fun. Next one, I didn't make a distinction, but like we are still, this is my last one that I finished. Well, it was my first one, but last one now. This is my last one of 2022 that I finished. So anything after this is gonna be before. So this is my first finish of 2021, just Summer at the Shore by Cottage Garden Samplings. This is on 36 count Mystic Pearl, which again, I need to find so much more of. I love this so much. Let's see if I can get the color to come through. It's like this very soft green gray modeling. Blue gray modeling. It's really pretty. Absolutely loved this stitch. And then I changed the water to variegated, which if you're interested, I can write what those are. And then I added, so David, my husband, is in the Navy. He is a physician in the Navy, and he went to officer development school last summer. And there's funny stories about like some seagull instances with he and his class. So the seagull, specifically a seagull skull, became the like symbol of their class at ODS. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to stitch this as like a commemorative piece for his time at ODS. And it was in Newport, Rhode Island. So very nautical, and there's lighthouses and old boats, and like, so it was just very old ships, I'm sorry. So it was it just screamed Newport, Rhode Island, David at ODS. So I stitched this for him, and then I put his information on the piece. So Ensign David Oxford, ODS class number, Newport, Rhode Island, summer of 2021. That's what I wrote. So yeah, so this is really for him, but it was so much fun to stitch. Yeah. I started that on Navy's birthday, October of 2021, and then I finished it this March. This one is a freebie from Shannon Christine, Thankful and Blessed. I stitched this in like 2 days around Thanksgiving of last year. And this is on 32 count Country French Rain. I did my own color conversion, but because I didn't have the actual like called for colors, but the colors were very close to the called for. So while it's not the exact called for on her freebie, it was within the same like color scheme. But if you're interested, I can find it and let you know. Candy from 614 Stitcher, she just recently finished hers as well, which made me remember mine. I actually do have a, it's like a Michael's, those like big wooden gift tag. It's supposed to look like a gift tag, but it's like a decoration. They were like on crazy sale late last year, and I think this will fit on one of them. So I'm gonna play around with maybe that going on like with the pumpkin or something. So I'm gonna play around with that, but that's the idea. Something just small to bring out in the fall. This next one is Winter by Cricket Collection. It's on 32 count Pearl Gray. And here, close up. I have stitched summer and autumn as well for this. I did a complete conversion for summer. I need to pull those out again and show them. They are pinned and ready to be framed. I have just not gotten them framed yet, so they're not out here. But I believe they're on my Instagram if you scroll way back in like 2019, 2020. But yeah, so I finally got the winter done. No plans for spring yet because I don't know what I want to do with spring. But I have 3 of the 4 done. And my goal behind these, so I am also doing the Celtic Ladies from Lavender and Lace. And so my goal eventually is to have this hanging above the Celtic Lady on the wall. So it's like a combo piece. And I have Celtic Winter done, so I need to get this frame so I can put it above. So I at least have 1 set done. And then I have Celtic Autumn done and Autumn Cricket Collection. So technically I would have 2 sets. I don't have Celtic Summer done yet, and I haven't started either of the springs. So got a little ways to go, but I got 2 of the 4. Just need to get them fully finished. This next one was so fun. I loved this piece so much last year. This is Shannon Christine Pumpkin Spice on a Color and Cotton Fabric of the Month last year, limited edition. Didn't have a name. Wish I had rolls of this though. I love this color. And it just screamed me. The original pattern, it is called for in that blue. I did not change anything. I think it's what actually got me to buy this pattern is the blue cup, Starbucks cup, and like, yes, I am this basic, sorry. The only thing I changed is the plaid is called for in like other reds, like I changed it to black so that it looked like a UGA buffalo plaid because it's like fall is UGA football. And so I just changed one of the reds to 310 black to make it look like UGA colors. Don't know how I'm gonna finish it, but that's the fabric color more accurately. Oh, I love it. So, gotta get that one finished so I can have it out in fall time. This next one is Smooth Sea from Stitch Rovia in her Cross Stitch for the Soul book. And this is on 40 count flax. Also, basically, it's like for David, but also just our family in general. This is a very accurate statement. So we just, when I saw it, I was like, I have to stitch it. And it's kind of fun. I actually finished this piece on our way to driving to our wedding location last year. That sounds weird. We got married in the on Isle Morada in the Keys, so we had to drive there a few days beforehand. So on that trip down, I finished this. The only thing I changed was the lighthouse. Here it was charted to be like black, and so I changed it to yellow to make it look like the lighthouse was on versus abandoned. So, oh, I love this piece so much. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna finish this one too. Thinking about probably just framing it, but I don't know. A lot of these are not finished. Well, if they are gonna be framed, framing is ridiculously expensive. But also, like, I think I want to do some of these like kind of creative finishes, but I haven't quite figured out what that creative finish is yet. So that's partly why they've languished, is I haven't had that inspiration yet for finishing, or I want them to be framed, and that's crazy expensive. So it's kind of a combo. This next one is another Stitch Rovia, but it's just a pattern you can buy on her Etsy, and it is Tequila. This is on 40 count platinum, and I didn't change anything. I love this piece. This was so much fun to stitch. I thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, I enjoy all my pieces, but like this one was especially fun. All of Stitch Rovias are just so much fun. I want something creative for this one too. Love it. All right. And then I think this next one, this was my first, but right now my last finish for 2021. And this is Winter's Wisdom by Cottage Garden Sampling. This was a full kit from my friend Taylor. She gave this to me one year before, and Cottage Garden Sampling. This piece and the next piece I'm gonna show you is what made me fall in love with Cottage Garden Samplings. And Oh my goodness. This was such a joy to stitch. The pine cone, the trees, the word, the bird, like it just all was just so, so good. Just so obsessed. Get in. And this is on 36 count smoke blue, and I always use 2 strands on 36 count. Oh, that fabric piece off of it. Love, 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 love. I want to get this finished. And then this next one is another cottage garden sampling, and this is Merry and Bright, and this was a gift from my mother-in-law. She fully kitted this up for me for my birthday. The year before, so 2020. And this is on 35 count Dove by Weeks Dye Works. Also 2 strands. Didn't change anything about it. It's just so good. Cottage garden, I feel about cottage garden like a lot of people feel like about Prairie Schooler, where I don't mess with it. I don't change it. Like Stitch Robia too, like unless it's just minor things, but like the color. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a distraction. Merry and Bright, cottage garden samplings, absolutely love. Highly recommend all of her patterns. Oh yeah, I think I was trying to close up of it when I got distracted. Or interrupted is really what I should say. Oh, it's so good. Okay. Oh, I love revisiting these. I need to get these done and on my wall. Next one is Christmas Lantern. I should say Merry and Bright was finished at the very end of 2020. It was like David's birthday, end of December on 2020. So I'm now in the 2020 finishes. Next one is Christmas Lantern from Twin Peak Primitives, and this is on 32 count natural. Oh, it's so pretty. Come up. It just pops. And then only thing I changed was that in the berries and Noel are Petite Treasure braid, which it's hard to see, but I put just a little hint of sparkle in there. And then, oh, the flower's so pretty. The bird. Yeah, that was the only thing I changed though. Still trying to figure out a creative way to finish this as well. If anyone has any ideas on any of these for creative finishes, I'm always open to suggestions. I know framing, of course, is always a good option, or and I am never opposed to that. It's just if it can be done in some fun ways of finishing things, I'm always open to. So just that one, and then this one. This is Reindeer Roundup by Prairie Schooler. Finished this. Started and finished in 2020. Oh, it's so cute. I did make a couple of changes to this one. A couple intentional, a couple not intentional. Santa's arms are a little more jolly than they were intended to be. Miscounted his arms a little bit there. And then I added a reindeer down here. So he's not originally charted. But in the original chart, there's only 8 reindeer. And and Rudolph's name was highly offended. So I had to add a 9th reindeer. And then I added a little red nose to that one, which my dad had the idea literally years ago, and I still need to do it, is add a little red bead there. So it's a big round red nose. So got Rudolph in there. And then I did change, and the other unintentional happy accident, I think there's only 2 colors charted for the reindeer, and I messed that up. At one point I misread them, and so now there's 3 colors for reindeer. 3 reindeer per color, but I think originally it was only 2. So yeah, so my reindeer are more diverse than originally intended. But this one was so much fun to stitch. Really, really enjoyed this one. This one probably will get framed unless I find something like at Michael's that's a little bit more, or, you know, craft store that have the decorations that I can mount that on. So that one. And then this next one is one of my favorites that I love them all, but this is Quaker Pumpkin by Hello from Liz Matthew. It's on 40 count Ren. I picture this plus, and oh, I went a little too far down. Try and keep it easy. There we go. So I did make a few changes. The main change is the words. In the original chart, it says All Hallows Eve. I changed it to Autumn Harvest so I could keep it up all of fall and not just like around Halloween. And then because of that, I did change this, the leaves. Originally it was charted for like birds or crows. I changed it to leaves in that color. This, I added green and made it's Classic Colorworks Spinach. And then I also changed the border to the dark brown color that's in the stem. The stems and the outside are the dark brown. I did not use the black called for at any point. I used brown. And then also this was a bird and I changed it to an acorn. So I just kind of folded it up a little bit. And yeah, the Autumn Harvest lettering and the leaves, that conversion is on my Gumroad page. So if you are wanting that conversion, I do share it there. And yeah, I just loved stitching this so much. Absolutely a joy. I used all the called for colors except for where the green is and where the and then the border, I just didn't use the black, I used the brown. So yeah. I need to cut down this fabric, clearly. I have a lot of extra that I could use, so. I'm always scared to like cut though, because I don't know how I'm gonna finish it yet, so that's partly why it's not yet. Okay. And then the last one of 2020, I finished right before I started medical school. And this is Madame Chantilly Celebrate Summer. Oh, I love it. I worked very hard. I started this right around my birthday that June, and I wanted to finish it before I started medical school that July. So this, I think it took me about 3 weeks to do. I was working on it nonstop though. I mean, I was obsessed. And I just love it so much. It's got a seagull, and I did, again, I did turn on the lighthouse, so that's one change. I made that yellow to turn it on. And then, you know, because our family is very navy and nautical oriented, I did backstitch the anchor on the pot, so that's not charted. I made that. I like to personalize these a little bit. I mean, they're so wonderful and so gorgeous, but on all of my trays, I try to personalize them just a smidge. But it's so pretty. And I'm still looking for a good creative finish on this one too, or else this one would be done. I'm thinking some kind of like, if I can find it, some kind of like driftwood piece to mount this on. But I don't know, because I have most of the other trays as well. So I'm trying to decide, does something that I maybe switch out? Do I finish them individually? I don't know. But yeah, oh, I just love this guy so much. So then these last two are major throwbacks. These are my two of my very first finishes when I started cross stitching, and they were back when I basically knew nothing besides what I could get. All I knew about cross stitch was what was in the aisle at Joann's. Not even, like, all I knew was Joann's, that aisle. And I had found the website of Everything Cross Stitch. But I didn't, all I knew were the patterns on everything cross stitch. I didn't know, I'd never looked at fabric or anything. Like all I saw was the patterns. So these are 2 patterns that I got off of Everything Cross Stitch, and all of the materials were bought in that Joann's aisle. And they're a little beat up because I didn't keep track of anything. So I don't really know many details about these at this point. But I do still love them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'm never gonna get rid of them, but I don't know exactly how or if I'll ever like display them. So these are fun. These are kind of longtime residents of the under the bed backs. I don't know the name of this pattern. I mean, if you Googled it, you probably find it, but it's on 16 count oatmeal Aida. And this is it. I know I finished this in 2016. Yeah, 6 years ago. And it was a lot of fun to stitch. I remember we went to London that year, and I remember stitching on this in the plane, on the plane to London. So I do love this piece. I kind of see this, I've always envisioned this, and I might still do this, as like a bathroom piece. Like this just has like a, maybe because our bathroom is very beachy, but I could see this on the wall, framed, you know, safely, like in the bathroom. So, guest bathroom. So yeah, that might happen at some point, but yeah, back when I used to stitch on Aida, it's seen better days, I gotta admit. I don't know what happened to it. The edges got messed up, but still the actual stitching, but even, I used to use a pink hoop, when I was using hoops before Q-snaps, and it I don't know if you can see it, like stained this part of the fabric pink. So I have like a half pink circle. I don't know why it did that. Or it's not even fully, it's just right here. It's stained pink. So it's on the back too. Like you can see the hoop mark still a little bit, even though I've ironed the heck out of this piece. Hoop mark that's pink. I think it was this piece when I saw that I threw that hoop away. But yeah, there's that one. And then this one, this one was, I seriously knew nothing. This was one of my first actual serious pieces. I worked on this nonstop for a year. It was December of 2014 to December of 2015. I worked on this. I didn't know anything better. This is all I knew. And I will forever cherish this piece. And this is it. I used to know the name of it. Sunset. Oh gosh. I'll put the name in because I do still have this pattern somewhere. But I worked on this nonstop for an entire year. It's huge. Back when I used to mask tape because I didn't know any better. It's on 16 count Aida. Look at the back. All the cross country. I mean, it's full cover, so it doesn't matter. But like, I was not very efficient with my thread usage. Like, it's just so fun to see how far I've come in my stitching career. Yeah, yeah. I love it so much. I will do something with this at some point because this was such a big deal for me. And now, like, it's so funny because now full coverage, like, isn't as appealing to me, but it's literally what I started with. So, like, I love full coverage. And I shouldn't say it's not appealing. It's just, like, I kind of moaned and groaned a little bit about full coverages, but I did this. It's like ignorance is bliss when it comes to, like, certain things. Yeah. It was a good one. There's another version of it that I've considered doing as well. That's like a blue midnight one. And yeah, so So that's it. Those are all of my fully unfinished objects. Like nothing has been done for finishing them yet. So yeah, so if you have any ideas or any questions about any of them, any comments, like if you have any, want to know anything more, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to share. I do have, for the things that are not my 2 oldest ones, I do still have a lot of information about these other finishes from 2020 on. I started documenting in 2020. So I have most of the information still about those pieces. So yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to check out my Gumroad page. There's a lot of conversions there and then a lot of the patterns that I showed. Thank you to those who have downloaded some of those pieces. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I'll be back soon. I still have a whip parade / 2023 plans video, a normal floss tube, and half of the month left is stitching. So we'll see what else I can come up with for some FlossMas videos. I've been enjoying so much watching other people's FlossMas's when I have the chance to, and yeah, it's just been a really fun month. So thank you all for your constant support and encouragement and all of the things. And I hope you have a wonderful week and happy stitching. Bye, friends.